Hey, buddy, what are you trying to
I'm
do?
trying to broadcast my thoughts through my mind.
Yeah, it's not working. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I know. I know. Top 5 psychic Pokemon! Alrighty, number 5, Espeon. So of the Espeon-Umbreon duo, Espeon is easily my least favourite of the two. It doesn't have a cool shiny form, in fact its shiny form is really ugly, and it doesn't have anything special going for it. Whereas Umbreon is kind of unique as a tanky Dark-type Pokemon, Espeon is kind of just Alakazam in a different skin and not as good. However, one really neat thing that Espeon does have is its Magic Bounce ability, which is fantastic, especially if you're using the Eevees as a Baton Pass team. Or really, in any Baton Pass team. Hi, I see you're building a Baton Pass team. Shame if I roared that. Yeah, well, shame if I bounced that roar back at you and made you switch out. Loser. And it's not just good for bouncing back roars and whirlwinds, Magic Bounce can bounce back any sort of status move, so Espeon definitely deserves a spot on your teams. Also, look at how cute it is. It's so cute. Just like all the evolutions, but still, this was so adorable! Moving on. Okay, so it's really weird to have a psychic type that is actually physical based. And of course, since this Pokemon is also part fighting type, it is physical based. Welcome to Gallade, the male counterpart to God of War. God of War would normally take this place on the list, being that I knew her a bit longer and she existed a bit longer, but since she ended up on the fairy list, Gallade will take her spot here. I do like Gallade. I think he's a particularly cool Pokemon. I think he's one of the only good Pokemon from Generation 4 that was a evolution or pre-evolution, because that generation introduced way too many shitty pre-evolutions and evolutions. And as with a lot of Pokemon on my top 5 lists, he has a really decent shiny form. He actually looks way cool when he's blue. Okay, so it's kind of generic to say that Alakazam is one of the top psychic Pokemon on a lot of people's lists, but you know, Alakazam is pretty damn cool, so he gets number 3 on this one. I mean, really, he was the original psychic Pokemon. I mean, yes, there were other psychic Pokemon in that generation, but Alakazam was the clear standout. I mean, we all know how creepy Hypno is. And let's not forget that back in Generation 1, before all of the horrible splitting stuff happened, Alakazam was one of the top dogs, being able to dish out unresisted psychic attacks at massive base power, and not having any real weaknesses. I mean, yeah, he went and got himself a Mega that was kind of ridiculous, but at least it wasn't as ridiculous as others, so let's not hold that against him. So if you've been watching these top 5 lists, you know that I have a particular weakness for Pokemon that I think are cute or adorable, and Reuniclus is definitely one of those. There's not a lot that I don't like about Reuniclus. I think it's cute, I think it's cuddly. I think the fact that it's based on Cell Division is really cool. I love that it can take hits like a champ, and I love that it's really good at staying alive. It has Recover on its moveset. One of its abilities is Regenerator. Its other abilities are pretty good for resisting residual damage, and it has a fairly high base HP anyway. Just like Gallade, its shiny form is a really pleasant blue colour. And, you know, it's just a cool Pokemon. Also, its name has Nicholas in it, and that's my name, and it's like, kindred spirits, yay! So yeah, let's remember that Reuniclus is kinda cool. And number 1, of course, Mewtwo. Yeah, if you didn't see this one coming, then you're kinda crazy. Mewtwo is easily the coolest psychic Pokemon out there. Remember how I said before that Alakazam could run around and spam psychic type attacks and just not get hit super effectively and it was really cool? Well, Mewtwo was that taken to an extreme. See, Mewtwo had the stats that were better than Alakazam's, it had the typing that was the same as Alakazam's, and it had a move pool that was wider than Alakazam's. So it was so much better at just going around and wrecking shit. There is a reason that the metagame of Gen 1 was basically, does your Mewtwo beat my Mewtwo? No? Okay, I win. And then, of course, there's Mewtwo's 2 Mega Forms, Mewtwo Y and Mewtwo X, and honestly, I don't know why Mewtwo X doesn't get a lot more love. Mewtwo X is clearly the cooler of the two. Like Gallade, it gets Psychic and Fighting typing, and you know, it's physical. It's one of the only physical Psychic Pokemon. Also, while Mewtwo Y reminds a lot of people of Majin Buu from Dragon Ball, Mewtwo X reminds me of Gogeta, also from Dragon Ball, but way cooler. Also, how could Mewtwo not be first on this list? I mean, he was the star of Pokemon the First movie. He was first, okay? He was so first he even transcended his originator Mew. Like, Mew, Mewtwo, but no, Mewtwo is before Mew in the Pokedex. Mewtwo wins. He's the first. He's the top Psychic Pokemon. Go Mewtwo! Okay, so that's my top 5 Psychic Pokemon. As usual, if you disagree or agree with the list, comment below and tell me, because I want to hear from you. Please, tell me things. Leave comments. Makes me happy, it gives me something to do. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss next week's episode where I'll be talking about my top 5 ground types. And of course, shameless plug time. If you haven't gone to check it out yet, go check out the Zero Badges podcast because, you know, it's good for you. They assure me that they're going to get their second episode up soon. Link is in the description. Go click on it and tell them that Trainer Nick sent you. Okay, so I've been Trainer Nick and I'll catch you guys next time. Be sure to like, subscribe and all that YouTube stuff. Bye.